go ahead. That's the cue.
So everybody, our very own Bang Claudio Pogliari is going to speak to the benefits of having streams of passive income. I will be listening carefully because I have no idea about any of that. So that will help me a great deal. And he's also my hero because he brought me into the Bang community, which put me into the How community. And I love him for that, if nothing else. So that's it. Take it away, Claudio.
Great. Thank you, Karen, and good morning, everyone. So, as Karen said, my name is Claudio. Um, I ventured into the world of network marketing over 30 years ago. I'm young. I was just recently married. I hear the words financial freedom, and that just drew me right in. So, I actually started with Amway. That was the first company I became a part of. Now, back then, the models were a little bit different. It was basically all product based. And I found out very quickly that I didn't have the knack of selling that kind of a business. I love the products. I kind of became the Peg Bundy of Amway, where I was buying products from my parents so that I can earn a commission. So it didn't quite work that for very well for that long, but it was fun. It was a learning experience. A lot of the products were great and still are. I mean, they're still around. They're probably the biggest income earners in the network marketing field. So yeah, those two magical words, financial freedom, that kind of got attached to network marketing and still is to this day. It's just that the models have changed a little bit, and it's a little bit friendlier for people that don't have selling skills. Basically, anybody can do it now. So, a few years later, I tried my hand at Amway, it didn't work. A few years later, I met a friend and she told me about this other company called Quickstar. Okay, she was one of those very aggressive types. Oh, you have to join, you have to join, this and that will make money, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I was naive, so I said, let's try it again. And a few weeks later, we find out that Quickstar is Amway. They basically just rebranded themselves. And as soon as we found that out, right away she said exit stage left. She wanted to have nothing to do with it. So I basically followed her in, so I followed her out. So in the meantime, going along, I tried a couple of other, through referrals from friends. I tried a couple of other companies. They all ended up being product based. You know, the one thing about network marketing, even back then, there were a lot of great products and services available. So as a customer, you can't find those kind of products in any stores. So it is good to tap into some of them. But as a model to earn a lot of money, you have to have that special knack. You have to have a big network. You have to have resources, and you've got to be a good speaker. And that's one thing I never was. 10, 15 years ago, you would never catch me doing what I'm doing now. I was terrified to even get in front of two, three people. I was always an introvert. I just kind of held, my own and hid in the corners whenever I had to. So speaking was never my strong suit. I'm not saying I'm great at it now, but at least I can do it comfortably. So that's one thing that really helped, me going through all these network marketing models. So fast forward a few years, I'm married to my current wife now. She's my second wife, and she was at work one day, and they were at lunch, and one of her coworkers, which she didn't really know that well, started talking about, oh yeah, my dad is having these problems with his knees or whatever, but he started drinking this coffee, and it's got a special herb inside of it, and he says it's really helped dramatically with this pain in the knee. So my wife came to me home, she came home that night and she told me about it and says, yeah, okay, I'll try out the product, but I'm not doing the business. I'm not touching another product-based business. End of story. Yeah, that didn't last too long. I honestly, I started taking that coffee. I still take it to this day. And that was about 13, 14 years ago. And it has done wonders. It's lowered my cholesterol. I used to have the same issues behind my knees, and I haven't felt it since. I used to get migraines. So there are great products out there. And I did happen to join in. I met some of the friends, some of the people involved, and I kind of got drawn into it. But at that time, it was just a couple of core products, and I was a product of the product because I know it worked. So then I just became one that just loved to share. And it wasn't, as much as it would have been nice to have a big team, that never was going to happen. But I was happy enough to be able to introduce it to people that it could eventually help them as well. So that went on for quite a while. It had a rebranding. They changed under a different name or whatever. And unfortunately, the executives got a little bit greedy. They started mismanaging funds and they were forced to pull out of Canada. So I could no longer be a distributor up here, but I was still able to buy the product. So I continued on with that. So, I kind of had that taste again, and yeah, things are a little different now. As long as you believe in what you're selling, it's easier to talk to people, and I was getting more comfortable to talking to people. I actually started hosting my own networking events up here in Bolton, and then came along. I had a Facebook friend, which I had never really met in person, came to me and told me about this travel club where you can save, 60-70% on a lot of the trips. Okay, I definitely love to travel. We definitely want to do a lot of that. So I checked it out. It's a company called World Ventures, and it was a blast. Didn't make any money because we spent it all traveling. So we'd have 4 conventions a year. Every one was in a different city. And by the time you add all that up and going to meetings in Detroit and all this stuff, never really made as much money as we were spending, but we had a blast, and I would have continued to do it because, we made a great group of friends, a lot of which I still keep in touch with. But unfortunately, COVID hit, and there goes another good one. So unfortunately, we had to push that one aside too. And while all that was happening, there was so much stuff going online now all of a sudden. A couple of the people that were in the World Ventures told me about this other platform that you put money into it and they would trade crypto for you and you would earn the rewards on it. Okay, sounds intriguing. And I got into that one. I figured, I could talk to people about it because I was doing a lot of networking at the time, but it wasn't something that required, you're not selling anything. All of a sudden, you're just introducing them to say, hey, there's a better way to earn money. And I got into a couple of them, and they were doing phenomenal. Like I was making easily $4,000 or $5,000 a week US, and that's without building any kind of massive teams. So I was comfortable with that. Unfortunately, can't prove who it was, but there is an organization out there that is bent on trashing every successful company, especially in the crypto field. And they created havoc for those companies. They forced them to get shut down by the government and regulators. We still don't know what happened. They still may be in a court battle, but it's doubtful because I don't think they have the resources to be able to fight them. So it was a sad thing. It's unfortunately, the banks, the governments don't like these kind of companies because they're not profiting on them. So that's one big issue. So unfortunately, but I was, I caught that bug. So I'm always, open to listening to other opportunities. And then came across somebody that told me about this other company called GS Partners. And it was different because they weren't trading. They were actually dealing in gold, but at the same time, they were buying undervalued companies, which they did extensive research on before they moved ahead. And then they would determine whether to replace all the staff or keep some of the key ones or keep the entire staff, but build it back up again. And that's where they were getting their income. And we started to make incredible amounts of money with that too. I actually 10x'd my money in the first year, which is unheard of. So, it was a great thing. Then we got hit with that same company that we believed was the cause of the other ones. And they went to the regulators and told them that we were doing something illegal. And we weren't. Now, traditionally, what would happen, especially when he went to the ones in the States, because they're more aggressive down there, the regulators would freeze your accounts, hold back 80% of it to use it to fight the legal costs, and 20% they would keep aside, and then we'd have to fight to win the case. And unfortunately, in the cases down there, you're guilty until proven innocent. So it was we were expecting a long drawn out battle, but our founder, which is a self-made multi-billionaire, he had different ideas. So he says, "Yeah, you want to freeze our accounts? Not on my watch." He took our servers, he took all our accounts, moved everything at his own expense to Europe. So now our money was safe, couldn't be touched. We were still handed a cease and desist order in most of the states and parts of Canada, but he says, okay, he went out and hired literally the biggest law firm on the planet. It was actually, there was actually a write-up about it in the Globe and Mail. So we knew it was legit. It came right out of the newspaper. We hired that law firm. They're the biggest and the most feared. Now, usually whenever other companies, I know of one, for example, that had to fight for the similar reasons, their court case got drawn out for 2 years, cost the company over $1 billion in sales because they were product based, and they lost thousands and thousands of their people. Well, we won our court case in 10 months, the fastest ever. No admission of guilt, no penalties or fines. We have to go through a 90-day grace period for them to give back any refunds that people wanted if they wanted to get out. And come February 1st, we're reopening. And we're going to have not only are we going to have all the money that we had in there, but because they're not dealing and trading, our money was still growing. So the full 10 months that we were shut down, our money was continuing to grow. So all of that's going to come available to us February 1st. So there are great companies out there. I've actually just recently been introduced to a couple of other ones. Again, put your money in, let it work, never have to tell a soul. And the money that you can make is just phenomenal. I find that we're being introduced a lot more to companies where the basis of the companies are usually only available to the ultra rich of the world. But because we've started working with a couple of the companies that are in fact created by multi-billionaires, they're opening the doors to us to a lot of the resources and benefits that they've had throughout the years. Past that GS Pro, the one that they're GS partners, another company kind of evolved from it, Billionico. I mean, billion is right in the word there, in the name. And that is also going to be another huge one because, again, they've opened up the door to all of these companies that are usually only accessible to the billionaires of the world. They kind of have their own club, and they've opened this wide open. So picture this. Picture Amazon bringing in all of these different companies that sold different products. And if you're part of Amazon, if you're Jeff Bezos, you're going to get a share out of every one of those sales. Well, that's the way Billionico is formatted. We're going to be bringing in over 100 different companies, all in different industries, all very highly trending and highly profitable industries and companies that are existing, and we're going to be able to earn income from all of them. So network marketing has definitely changed. It's being made more for the average person. You don't have to be a sales guru. You don't have to be a Stephen Clark to have a lot of success because he's had that success. But yeah, it's just that there's a lot of great opportunities, but you have to do your due diligence. Make sure you look into them. We're fortunately, we have one of our members, one of the gentlemen that brought us in. He's actually a retired detective in the Ottawa Police Department, and he used to investigate these kind of scams and companies. So he knows what to look for. He's got resources in the FBI and Interpol that we would never have. So we're kind of following his lead into a lot of these opportunities. And as much as you can never guarantee anything, so far they've shown a lot of promise. So that's my story. There's been a lot of great adventures. There's been some downtimes, but every one of them has been a great learning experience. Like I said, I've learned and am comfortable now talking to people in larger groups, which I never used to be able to do, and I really appreciate it for that. And there's a lot of great groups like Bang and the How Group, for example. And the one thing that I've always said and I've always found is if you want to have success in any one of these networking groups, you got to be consistent. You got to go once, keep going. That's when you're going to build that trust level with all the people in that group. So that's my story. If anybody has any questions, any comments, you want me to leave the room?
So let's do this first. Al just came in. Al, can you identify yourself for us, please? We just want to make sure you're real and not one of those bots. So just come on screen for a second. And Claudia, while he's doing that, maybe we can start preparing some questions for Claudia.
Well, I can say something, Dave, if you want.
Sure, go ahead, Cliff.
Well, Claudia, the power of network marketing is pretty incredible. 35 years ago, my wife and I quit really good jobs and went off into a whole lot of flaky businesses. One of the things I got introduced to was a company called Matol. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It was selling a brown liquid in a bottle, 30-something odd bucks a time, buy them in cases. Everybody was having these amazing results. Before I knew it, and I was doing other businesses at the time, we had 1,000 people down line, and it went absolutely bonkers. Now, I didn't make the kind of money you're talking about. I was making three something thousand a month on that. At the time, 35 years ago, it was very welcome because we'd just bought an old century home, restoring it. My wife turns out gets pregnant while we're restoring it. So it was very handy. But I thought it's a great training program. And I met some really interesting people. A lot of people going around saying you fake it till you make it, and they were driving these cars they couldn't afford, and they were just the ones that are always there and help make the money. But there were some really interesting people at the top, and they really naturally understood how to talk to a crowd. And we'd go to some of these meetings by the airport. There'd be hundreds of people there, and they're bringing people like Zig Ziglar and stuff. And it was like being, I mean, I'm not a religious person, but I mean, I like some of these, I guess these American churches. You have 1,000 people, and they're all screaming and ranting and raving. I thought, this is unbelievable. Some people were making, most people were not making any money at all. And at the time they had the water filters, and people had basements full of water filters, and you could tell these people could not sell them. There's no way they could sell them. Someone convinced them to buy a basement full of water filters because that would get them further up. They'd become a supervisor, and they could walk around with a little silver pin, and they could feel great, but they never sold anything. So it's a fascinating area. There's some of the people which are quite shy. They weren't great speakers, but they got up on that stage and they were doing incredibly well. It's fascinating area. I haven't done it since then because actually, funny thing is, like you're saying, there's all these horror stories. It was an incredible product. There was a recall. We went through the recall. We did the whole recall. We got it going. We got it going again. A few months later, it was another damn recall. Anyway, it was fun while it lasted, and it was a great education.
And
It is a lot of fun. It really is. You meet some great people. You meet some of them that might be a little bit full of themselves, but you choose your own friends. Like in regular life. But we've had a blast.
Awesome, Cliff. I got to insert a question in here. Who is this guy from the Ottawa Police? I just want to see if I know him.
Ken Logan.
Ken Logan?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't know him. Okay, all right.
He wasn't one of the guys who arrested you, Dave? No.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No, David, somebody asked me in South Africa, are you from Canada? I said, yeah. Do you know so-and-so? I just want to tell them there's 30 million people here. Hello.
Yeah,
That's a stupid question.
Dave, if I could just add to what Claudio was saying, because he mentioned about that. When we, after I sold my advertising company, we moved to Scottsdale to be with my ex-professional athletes. I played professional hockey for 5 years, and we got bored very quickly. So we actually had friends who were in the network marketing industry, which we had said we would never get involved in, but we weren't very educated on it. So we decided to get educated on it. We actually interviewed some of the top CEOs of the top companies in the industry. And then my wife and I decided that we would, because we were technically retired, we knew that that wasn't going to last long. We were both entrepreneurial. So we traveled around, and she joined a company called Newskin, which is a publicly traded company. It's 3.4 billion or whatever it is. And we were just really, quite frankly, taken by the products. And so as we traveled around the world, really just, on a holiday, really, but we really enjoyed meeting with the people there, talking to them, and we did that. I would give meetings as an ex-professional athlete and one of the top advertising guys in the world, talking about how to build a business, never about Newskin, just about the industry in general. I actually wrote a paper called the MLM Myth, because what I'd heard about the industry, and then what I found out about it afterwards, after I did my due diligence, was the total opposite. Every single myth I dispelled about being a pyramid and all these other things. And the only flaw I could find in the industry was the people. Because, as we mentioned already, it gets a little cult-like. And you get these people that are faking it till they make it, and they're saying, oh, yeah, you can make a lot of money. And do you make a lot of money? No, but the guy that brought me in, he makes it's like it's so. But what I've noticed recently is it's becoming more professional. The products, by the way, are, and I was in advertising marketing for 25 years. The products are really superior in most cases. They've done, Newskin, for example, does double-blind rollover studies on natural products. Unheard of. I mean, it's crazy. But they cannot sell them. Somebody said, well, why don't they sell them in the store? It's a bizarre question. I mean, it's like, that's the ultimate. If you're selling products retail, that's the ultimate. It's not. And I know all about that. The ultimate way is intellectual distribution. Somebody showing you something that they've had a product experience and said, like, Claudio, I took this coffee. This is what it did for me. Why don't you try it? Okay, cool. I mean, so we have that trust factor when we're doing that. So I believe in the industry. By the way, the industry is over 200 billion a year, going to double in the next 7 years based on what's going on right now. And companies like Amway and Newskin, Herbalife, who have been around for a long time, they've changed the way they do business. It's not like the old days when Amway says, or in the water filters where you fill up your basement or garage with products. It's all digital now. So I always encourage people, if you're looking for something, you don't have to do it to say, I'm going to replace my income or anything like that. But what about a mortgage payment or a car payment or whatever? In today's world, that will help people tremendously, because we know what people are dealing with today, both in Canada and the United States. So an extra, 500 a month or 1,000 a month by sharing products and just letting them do it. I think it's a wonderful industry. So kudos to you, Claudio, for continuing on this road. And I think you've got some good things ahead of you.
And gaining such success.
I just want to interfere for a second, just to talk about the filter industry. It was an interesting time, and maybe today we can, like, we're getting older and we learn from the past, we can learn from it. The trick was like with the printers. At some point, this company used to give you the filter concept, almost installation for free. But when they hook you up, it's on the filter when you had to replace it. So people didn't replace the filter on time. Guess what? Their health situation, the house got actually worse with the not change filter, but the old filter than before. The water was better before than after. And that's where they can start feeling it. So you're quite right. The whole marketing now changed back to say, let us control the situation. We share with you the profit, because they're professional. You can't give to somebody who cannot speak the language to sell filters, or have no idea about the installation or leaks or other risks that you take in the house, that you can, expose yourself. Anyhow, it was just quick, because I was
involved. Our home and property inspector.
I was involved in a couple cases that there was insurance didn't want to pay them out because of the leak in the house due to that filter. water filter, and they didn't realize themselves what they're up to. And today replace, just give you an idea, a flooded basement, you're talking about 50, 60, $100,000 up because of the old legislation that you have to cut the walls around it 4 feet up and replace floors. Environmental issues, don't even ask. Anyhow, this was just 2 seconds window of opportunity.
Anyone else with comments or questions?
Well, I got a couple of quotes here, actually, that I forgot to mention earlier.
Throw them at us, man.
And, it gives it a little bit more, the trust factor and believability that, the industry works. So here's one. If I would be given a chance to start all over, I would choose network marketing. Bill Gates. I'm a tremendous believer in network marketing. Richard Branson. There's a gentleman that owns 3 direct sales and network marketing companies, and he said the best investment I ever made with those 3 companies, Warren Buffett. So, I mean, if you've got this caliber of people that believe in that industry, there's got to be something right with it. There's just so many haters out there, and they're very vocal online, and that's what kills it, and that's what gives a lot of people that doubt and a lot of people that skepticism.
That's funny. We were at a Chartwell event just last week, and one of the lady introduced herself to me and her husband, and then she said, "Yeah, I don't want to do anything with networking marketing people." And I'm just thinking, I'm not going to invite you to my Christmas party. So I didn't. Because right away she eliminated herself, right? So it's not even a bad idea when people come to you and say, I don't want to do this, or nothing to do with you or whatever you do, because you just move on.
I think it's funny when people say, no, I've heard a lot of bad things about network marketing, and you say, well, from who? Well, my neighbor said it's one of the worst things out there, whatever. Is he rich? No. Then what does he know about it?
I wonder if it has to do with age a bit, because 30, 35 years ago, there were a lot of bad things out there. I mean, Mattel was a small company. You got paid your commissions. Every month you got your commissions, so no problem. But a lot of other ones out there where you'd make all these sales, but the commissions would go to the guy up from you, and they had to pay you down the amount. If you didn't get paid from the person up, you didn't get your money. And there are a lot of terrible things going on there. It's probably cleaned up a lot since then, but there were a lot of things. The other thing is network marketing is happening all the time. We're all doing it all the time. You recommend somebody to somebody. It's that personal recommendation which makes it so powerful.
Yeah.
And guys, don't forget that in regular business, as you call it, the corporate world, these things happen daily. So nothing changes there. In fact, they might even have a worse, Stephen can tell you, a worse track record than the network marketing company.
Well, 9 years ago, I was forced to quit my job because of health reasons. I almost ended up in the hospital because of stress. And I tried finding another job in the same industry, but my age, unfortunately, didn't help because I was already, in my mid-50 range. So the fact that I had a couple of side businesses, network marketing, on the side, I was making a little bit of money. I continued to grow that as I was, in the process of looking for something. And I got to a point where I said, I don't need this anymore. I can just stick with what I'm doing. I'm now making more money than I was at my full-time job. Why would I go back to work for anybody? And 9 years later, I'm still here and I'm still not working. And I have no intention of going back to a job unless I need to. But, if all goes well, I definitely won't need to. So.
All right. So, Stephen, I think you're going to say something, then I'll have a question for Claudio.
No, I was just going to say you're right. The correlation is fairly close between network marketing and conventional businesses. I mean, people always talk about people don't make money. The most people in network marketing that don't make money are the ones who don't do it. There's that the success is created by consistent effort over time. And also the industry is coming of age now where people are coming in. When we created big success. And the reason we did it was because I was a creative business strategist. And so we looked at the leaders telling you this is the way to do things. And I'm like, what? Here's the way we do things. Everybody does the same thing. I'm like, well, I could tell you as one of the top creative business strategists in the world, that's a flawed strategy. Why would that's ridiculous. Or the industry talks about everybody can do it. No, they can't. Just like everybody can't start a business and build up a successful business. It's for some people, it's not for everybody. So I think we have to, understand that it is a viable, as I just said, I quoted the numbers, it's growing. Younger people who do digital, big on the internet, they're now coming in making a lot of money. And so it's a really, I think, legitimate business model. Understanding it's not for everybody, and also understanding that there's many different ways to do it. We ended up getting our doctor involved because, again, the products had the double-blind studies. The doctor said, I'm not signing up people. We're like, yeah, so what? Don't sign up people. Sign up, just get customers. He ended up getting customers and was making $17,000 a month just on customers. You don't have to do it. Everybody says you have to do it this way. No, you don't. Just like when I build my businesses, you have to do it this way. No, you don't. You do it based on what you know and how you're going to do it and how you're comfortable doing it, and then you grow it from there. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't do it, but I'm a big fan. And I take, by the way, I most of the products we take are network marketing products. We take, pills for glutathione that we take that pumps up our glutathione. We have a water filter from Kagan, which we did our studies. We think it's the best going. We would never drink anything but. So we're, my wife and I are both big health advocates, and me being a former professional athlete. So the products are great, and we love being customers of the product.
You all know who his wife is?
I do.
My wife is the crazy. In Toronto, everybody knows her. Her name is Svetlana Ratnikova. She has a nonprofit called Immigrant Women in Business, which is the largest in Canada now. She's got national offices in every province, and she does a marvelous job and one of the biggest networkers I think there is in the country. So, yeah.
During COVID, she had a party somewhere downtown there that I went to.
Oh, she had many. she's a feisty one for sure.
There was a lot of people there, man, and we were
yeah.
drinking wine and having fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, she's that's her for sure.
So that's really cool. But Claudia, I do want to ask you, let's be specific on the companies that you're involved with and what they're doing, and maybe how you make money with these companies.
Funny question. GS Pro is going to be moving forward to GS Pro Plus. They're the ones that went through that 10-month court battle. I think one of the reasons why they got tagged or put through the ringer like they did is because the way it worked is you would buy a digital certificate, and then you would have to activate it. And this other organization was accusing us of selling securities, which we weren't. So it's kind of a gray area. So they're moving forward. We're still going to have all our funds waiting for us February 1st, but they're going to be going into other ways of earning money in that company. We're supposed to find that out literally in the next week or two. So we know, we've seen the interface, we've seen what it looks like. We've seen, we're going to have our own wallet. The beauty of this company is going to be 100% decentralized. So if we have our own wallet or our own card, nobody has access to it. So there's no regulator, no, government agency that's going to be able to come in and block that money. It belongs to us. So, that's going to be a big bonus with that one. Billionico is still a big thing. And like I said, we've got 6 companies that we've partnered up with so far. There's going to be over 100 in the next 3 to 5 years. And every one of them is going to be in its own industry. We've got gold, we've got real estate, we've got design, we've got some health and wellness products. So there's a number of ways that you can earn money by getting involved with those companies individually or in Billionico as a whole, and then you can bring in customers in all of those companies, and you don't even have to be part of the companies. Like, say, for example, Dave, you want to buy some gold, and I'm not into that. Well, because I've already registered with the gold company because I'm part of Billionico, if you come in and I give you a referral link and you buy gold for yourself, I'm going to earn money on that gold. And I don't have to have anything to do with the company. So picture that across 100 different companies. And all you're doing is referring or talking to people that might be interested in one or more of these companies. Now, the latest two just actually had an information session last night at 8 o'clock. So we're just starting to learn from it. One is called Ubidex and one is called Cryptex. Now, I don't know enough about them yet. The only thing I know about Cryptex is the fact that it's been around for 8 to 9 years. And apparently they've never missed a payment to any of their people. But the way they both work is you have to stake your money, meaning you put in minimum of $100 and you can't touch it for a period of time, which you can choose. Now, obviously, they're never going to make any guarantees. All they can say is that it's worked up till now. But just as an example that they've given us, through the power of compound interest, which is supposed to be the eighth wonder of the world, if you put $100 in today, in 3 years, it becomes $35,000. So I say, who doesn't have $100 that they're not going to miss? Just put it aside and keep your fingers crossed. In 3 years, you're going to get a good payday. So those are the
3
four
years
that
is
I'm
just like that.
just like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's even with the other two that had shut down, just between, sadly, I had money still owing to me in both of those companies. Now, I was fortunate enough to be able to pull out the money that I had already earned, that I put in myself, and then some, because I'd earned a lot of money, along the way. But I still have $93,000 sitting in there between the two of them, which I'll probably never see. So that's why you got to do your due diligence. Now, I honestly feel that the company that we had to go through that court battle with is changing things. There was one of the top members of the SEC that was forced to step down because it sounded like he was in cahoots with this organization. That organization, I don't want to mention any names because I don't want to put that negative energy out there, but a couple of the members have already been put in jail. And we're going after them now to try to shut them down completely because of all the damage they've done. So that's where we stand. There's too much information to be able to give in a quick answer here. So all I can say is if anybody wants to learn more about it, set up a call with me and I'd be happy to sit down and go over one or more of those with you.
Awesome. All right, so we're still open for question. I haven't heard anything from Karen yet, from Jav yet, and I think Jav is ready, man. Go ahead.
Yes, well, technically I was about to ask to Claudio for if he could put in the chat the last two names of the company he was talking about, first of all, and okay, yes, thanks.
Are you asking for him to put the names in the chat?
Yeah, CryptoX and the other one. So, but if you want to, or I'll just set up another call with him. And for all the others, MLM network marketing companies, what would be, for example, the most relevant that you think are working the best today, and especially in the prediction of 2025?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that, Jeff. So can you say that again? What are the best ones?
Like among all the actual companies that are out there. So I know
Jav,
you said,
let me see if I can rephrase it this way. You're looking for the best company to get involved with in 2025. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're asking the question, what would that be? So Claudia, to you and to Stephen as well, since he has a lot of experience in this field.
Yes, I know Steve looks like a very experienced in that at the same time.
Well,
Go ahead, Claudia, first.
Let me pull out my crystal ball.
Go ahead.
You know what? You can go to any one of these companies and they're all going to say they're the best and they're going to have the best thing in 2025. So I don't know that there is a best one because, you know, those couple of companies that got shut down, they were phenomenal. They were paying great money. The one of them, I was pulling out $1,000 US a week and I was still making money and it was still growing in the account. So, you know, I'm not saying that's, you know, $1 million a month, but there are people that make, you know, $1 million a month. At least, you know, it's a lot of six-figure earners a month. So there's a lot of great companies out there. I know Stephen might have a different view on it. One thing I kind of forgot to mention too, and I know he didn't mention either, Stephen was actually inducted into a Hall of Fame for network marketing coaches as one of the top 50. So he does know a little bit about it, and that's one of the reasons why I invited him along. So he's definitely got a lot of information.
All right, Stephen, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, that was, by the way, so remember, I wasn't involved. My wife was involved, and we did very well because we created our own strategies, and we made sure that when we got people who were interested in the business, we didn't tell them this is the way it had to be done. We asked them what do they like, what are they comfortable with. We built a business model around them. Our real estate person, for example, loved doing home parties, which is the Tupperware model. They do home parties. And so we set that up for her. She's still today, she's into probably over 20,000 a month now. And she's been that's what she does. She just loves doing it. And she does it with other people and everything else. So the industry itself, as far as the best companies, Claudio's right, there isn't a best company. You're looking for, companies that, if you're product based, Claudio's got a couple, I think Billionico that he's talking about is going to become one of the best companies if you got, crystal ball, because Billionico has got a variety of things that you can get involved in based on of what you want to do. They're in crypto. I mean, crypto's here to stay. We got into crypto. My son got into crypto. He bought his first Bitcoin when it was $30. And then he got in a motorcycle accident and got a big payout. And before he told me, he put that all into Bitcoin, which I was at the time very angry. Obviously, I don't, I'm not that angry anymore based on Bitcoin or where it is. And we got involved as well when it was, 2,000-3,000. So, I mean, it's here to stay, all these different things. It's really just what you're comfortable doing. But the bottom line is the entire industry, it doesn't matter what product you're in or what company, it's just really about sharing it. It's not about selling it. Don't sell it. You don't have to sell it. Just share it and let them decide what they want to do. It's just, that's just the way it is. We have the number one in our business. I built this model for companies that guarantees, it's a marketing. We say, give us your marketing dollars. We guarantee 100% return. We don't sell it. We just share it with them. And we have them coming back. We're just finalizing a deal with Porsche, Delta, Toyota. Don't have to sell things. Selling is, when you're selling, the real definition is convincing somebody to do something that they may not want to do. Well, the one people you don't want in network marketing, Claudio will attest to this, is people that you've convinced to come in, because they're going to be nothing but a real pain. Get people that you can set up great relationships with, work with them, but focus on that. But as far as that, I would, Jav, if I were you, I'd talk to Claudio about Billionico. I think it's going to be real big. It's out of Dubai, big money behind it. And they have a multiple of things that you can get involved in real estate, gold, crypto, all these different things that fit your fancy. And if you've done it and you say, I don't want to do gold anymore, that's okay, because you're going to get that residual income. You can go into something else, staying with the same company. So that would be my recommendation.
Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Claudio, can you put that name for Jav inside the chat, please?
He's already got an account with Billionico because he wanted to learn a little bit more. He hasn't gone beyond that, but he does have an account. So
you have an account there, Jav?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But he's not a member yet. It's basically for information purposes only right now.
Okay.
So once he's ready, and Jav knows I'm not one to be pushy, whenever he's ready. If he wants to jump on board, I'll be there to support him.
But you put
All
it
right.
in the chat, though, I see, Claudio. You put the Billionico in the chat, right?
No, I haven't put that
Somebody
one.
did.
That one I have a link. So if you give me a minute, I'll put my link in there. So
Yeah,
you can actually register your own account. It doesn't tie into anything. It doesn't cost anything. So that's the beauty of it. You can just register your account, complete the KYC. It's just a little bit of information just to prove that you are who you say you are. And again, nothing at all ties you in. You never have to do anything even to quit it. Just ignore it, and it'll go away eventually. So I'll get that link and I'll put it in. Just give me 1 second here.
So while you're doing that, Jav, I think you're on the right track, man. You got something that has some potential, and that's really all you can ask for. That potential. If you do enough things with potential, something will work.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Because I'm looking for different things that can work possibly eventually for me, instead of having like business model that's where I have to run after clients and to get like new clients consistently. So yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so let's look for other questions. Karen, I was calling you out and you're still muted, so go ahead, ask a question. Doesn't matter how direct it is, just go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, I don't have any questions right now, but I will set up a one-to-one with Claudio.
Great. Look forward to it.
Chantel, yeah, you are late, but is there anything that's in your mind that you want to ask?
No.
No, not yet. All right, fair enough. Jeff, you're familiar with this process. You want to say something?
I have one. It's a common question. I think one of the biggest difficulties with network marketing over the year has been people, I guess, getting into the habit of using it. So, number one, would you agree with that as being one of the biggest problems, creating the habit? And number two, what you do about it?
So that was a question for you, Claudio.
Can you rephrase that, Jeff? Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems in networking, network marketing, has been people creating a habit to be part of an organization. Number one, and what has been done to, I guess, to fight that, to, I guess, look after it.
If I could rephrase that, he's remember earlier Steven said sometimes it's like a cult where people are going to it and they're just basically following whatever the leader said. He's saying, is there something that's been done in the industry to stop the cult thing from going on? But I don't think so, Jeff, because they want that to go on, because that means they're selling more products and services. But Claudia,
yeah, I don't think it's an industry thing. I think each individual company, like with GS Pro and Billionico and these other two, they're actually calling them, if you want to create wealth through these 4 pillars. So they're considering these companies all different pillars.
Of course, right.
They have a lot of support. They have regular weekly meetings to give you updates, to let you know if something is changing, and there's ways of keeping in touch. There's Telegram chats and their group chats or whatever, and they're private, so they can only you can only get in by invitation. So there's plenty of ways where, because when you've got a big organization, you've got thousands of people that are in your team. It's kind of hard to be able to handle everybody one-on-one.
Of course.
You provide as much information as possible, so that anybody that has questions can tap in. They can type it into the chat. They can they can put it into the come into the group webinar and put post a question there. So there's plenty of ways of getting answers, and you can always reach out to your upline.
But let me say it this way. It's always going to be cult-like. If you're making money in a company and there's people below you making money, it's going to be like a cult, because people are so attracted to money that they will do anything to get it. So that will never go away. It's not going to happen. But let's go to Chantel for her question.
Hey, so Claudio,
Hi, Chantal. Long time no see.
yeah, well, yeah, long time,
A day.
couple of days ago. So obviously I've done things with you before, Claudio, like how do we know? And I guess maybe you've, with so many companies going up, crashing down, and then we lose everything. What's the setup of these new players that will protect us from this?
Well, there is no 100% guarantee with anything. So one thing I always advise, number one, you got to look at what you can afford to do. So, don't put money into something you're not prepared to lose. That's one of the rules that, I've been taught. Now, I know that kind of sounds negative, but, these last two companies, for example, yes, they are, longer term. You got to, one of them you have to stake something for a year. One of them you have to stake it for a minimum of 3 years. So you put in a small amount, and after the year or 3 years or whatever, if you get that big payout, then you can do whatever you want. You pull your $100 back out, and you're playing with house money. Well, that's the same with some of these other ones, like with GS Pro, and it'll be the same for GS Pro Plus. There you can make money right away. Like within the first week, you're already getting paid. Take out what you put in. That way, you're not risking anything. That's what with the exception of with GS Pro, because I had put a little bit more money into it. However, that was money that I had earned from previous companies, so it didn't come out of my bank account. I learned, a few years back, take out the money you put in, play with house money, and that's what I did, and that's what I continue to do.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So you want to speak specifically of the companies that Chantel is talking about in the background, though, that she's having some difficulty with?
Well, they don't exist anymore.
Oh, they're gone
You were
completely?
part of both CashFX and Novatech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are two of them. Those are the two that I have all that money sitting there.
Yeah.
And are they gone completely, or is there some kind of recovery process?
I don't think there's a recovery. Every time you go on the site, they make the rule impossible. I didn't put the baby in the bathwater in this thing, so I was testing it. But still, I could withdraw, but the minimum, they have a minimum withdrawal term, and I don't know if you've succeeded withdrawing anything. Anyway, I don't meet it. And basically, I can't even shut down the account and recover my capital. I'm like crazy.
Yeah, well, Novatech is definitely gone. I mean, the site's shut down, whatever. CashFX, believe it or not, the account, the back office is still open. So that kind of gives us the only little bit of hope that maybe they're still working behind the scenes. Because sometimes when they go through these court cases, it could take up to 3 to 5 years. So we don't know.
Right.
But when a company is in one of these court battles, they are placed on a gag order. They can't divulge any information at all. Otherwise, they could just throw the whole case out.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful. So that's why it's frustrating for us, because it's our money sitting there, but they're obligated by law not to say anything.
Yeah. No, I didn't have money with CashFX. I had money on another group as well, a Canadian crypto thing. But same thing, suddenly boom, poof, they disappear. It's like, yeah, okay, guys. It's like, I've learned a way to mine Bitcoin for free right now. Okay, yeah, I'm not earning 1 Bitcoin at a time. I'm earning fractions of Bitcoin at a time.
Satoshi.
Yes, thank you. But that's safe, and I had no dollar in, and I'm still throwing it in my Coinbase account after a while. Everything works fine. All the integrations are built in the back from a stupid game. That's cool. And, now I have Bitcoins in my account, something I never had before. All right, just $10, but who cares? We know it's we know, to your point, crypto is here to say. Actually, I'm in the financial industry, and there is constant publications and words about this in terms of integrating crypto into a portfolio now for clients. So it is a good thing to be in crypto. Absolutely.
Well, has anybody heard or read anything about Trump creating a council for crypto?
Something vaguely. I'm like, there's so many things going on. I haven't read everything yet, but yeah, could be.
Well, he's a big
obviously
believer.
changing. Yeah, he's supporting all this. So yes,
He is, yeah, big time supporting. So he has created a council, and Elon Musk has been invited into that council, and so has one of the co-owners of GS Pro. So we have our foot in there now. So that, I mean, you can't ask for any more validity to the company. Number one, they just spent millions and millions of dollars fighting a court case, and now are coming out with a new and improved version of themselves. There's no way they're going to spend all this money and put all this effort into it if they're just going to be, disappear. I mean,
is it going to be? Here's $1 million question. At the rate of escalation and of acceptance of crypto, is it going to be regulated? And if so, where does all these network solution, or because I have no idea of the companies you're referring to right now, how will they be affected? That's also another, like, will they put up standards or criteria that suddenly will be against all these companies?
Well, I mean, there's never going to be any guarantees of that. All I know is with the financial backing that we have in both Billionico and GS Pro, I mean, they're both owned by multi-billionaires. It's easier for them to say, okay, we're going to pivot, and they're blocking us from doing this. Okay, let's move in a different direction. The GS Pro, I know you weren't here earlier, Chantel, when I was talking about it. GS Pro makes their money by buying undervalued companies, resurrecting them, and either putting them on the open market or selling them, or just having them operate and keeping the staff that they have on board. And that's how they create all the income. So crypto has nothing to do with it. The only reason why we use crypto is because we're in 70, 80 countries in the world, and it's just easier because of all the number of transactions that go on daily to have just a handful of cryptos that you can use.
Okay, so it's a form of currency as far as this.
Right. So Shonda, let's do this. Let's get Claudia to Claudia, tell us how we can get a hold of you, and then we'll go back to question. We'll stop the recording and we'll go back to questioning afterwards.
Well, I put the information in the chat already. So it's got my email, it's got my Calendly link, it's got my LinkedIn page, phone number, it's all there.
All right.
Just a couple of lines up.
Go ahead and read out the basic way to get a hold of you.
Best way is just to set up a call with, use my Calendly link. And we can set up, I mean, it says it's a 45-minute call, but you know what? If you only want to make it 5 minutes, if you want to make it 2 hours, as long as I'm not booked afterwards, I've got no problem. I don't have a day job that I have to, I've only got certain openings. I have a pretty open schedule.
All right, so I'll state it for him. If you want to find him in person, come to Bang every Wednesday morning and he'll be there. It's probably going to be the first person that arrives in the room. So it's kind of like Cliff to the How group. Claudia is like that at Bang. He's the first one to get in that room in the morning. So that's where you can find him in person if you want to find him. He's not hiding.
No.
And for that, I'll open up for your questions again, but I'm going to stop the recording.